And 3, 2, 1. Just give me your life.
Hello. So, this is Halo. I guess we'll just get right into it, so time will start in about 10 seconds from now. And go. So, this tutorial actually has quite a lot of tech in it, so I have to focus for a bit and then I'll introduce the game in a bit. So here I can start the looking test a bit early by blocking the path of the Marine.
Each of the flashing panels to target them. When you lock on, it'll change color. Okay, that looks good.
I'm ready for the energy shield test now.
Please follow me to the...
And what I did there is, you can actually skip part of the looking at the lights test by playing in inverted controls. Because if you're playing with normal controls, then the game's like, hey, don't you want to try out inverted controls? And I'm like, heck no. So, after I'm done with the test, I just turn them off in the menu.
Alright, shields read as fully charged.
Okay, sir. Bring them down to test the automatic recharge.
And there's one more voice line skip here, and then we're off to the Pillar of Autumn. Or the main part of the Pillar of Autumn, I guess.
We're showing green across the board.
So, yeah, this is Halo 1, also known as Halo Advanced Warfare. Wait, that's not correct. Halo Combat Evolved.
On the double, crewman.
And this game came out in 2001, I believe, for the Xbox.
Okay, I'll leave the
And
graphics running.
yeah, the Halo series is
They're trying to get through the door.
probably one of the more iconic console shooters, but I'm actually playing this on the PC. Wow, Sam had a really brutal sounding death up there. So I'm playing on the PC. This game had a PC port back in 2003. The other Halo games, well, Halo 2 also has a PC port, but we don't talk about that. The other Halos don't have a PC port, sadly.
Sir, the captain needs you on the bridge ASAP. Better follow me.
And yeah, now we're off to find Captain Keyes and get our first weapons. There, if I enter the bridge and then immediately exit, I can actually skip walking up here. And so, we get a pistol from Keyes, but because I leave the area so quickly, I actually don't end up getting the pistol for some reason. But it also skips a few enemies, so totally worth doing, even though the pistol is a pretty powerful weapon. And so, the Pillar of Autumn is kind of a tutorial level. Not very much going on, it's mostly going to be just walking through these hallways, trying to not get blocked too much by the enemies. And I guess I should mention why I'm playing on easy. So, historically Halo runs have been done on either easy or legendary, which are the fastest and the hardest difficulties, respectively. And so, the things I really enjoy about this game are the, like, movement and the tricks, whereas the tough combat on the legendary doesn't really interest me all that much. And it just ends up adding a lot of randomness and a lot of frustration into the game. Some people really love that, but I stick to easy. Also because I'm bad, but that's the secondary reason. So now we have the pistol, the famous, powerful weapon from Halo 1. Some nice little jump there. Saves like half a second or something. Totally not worth doing, but oh well, gotta go fast. Coming up here is kind of a complicated area where there's a bunch of voice lines going on, and I can try to skip some of them, but it most likely won't work.
We should hurry. Warning, blast doors closing. We have to use the ship's maintenance access way.
So,
Follow the nav point.
if I got that
Lead you
checkpoint
through
there a tiny
The
bit
Covenant
later,
underscore?
then I could have actually skipped like 4 seconds, but it's pretty inconsistent, so doesn't matter too much.
I'm detecting Covenant movement outside the access ways. Activating motion tracker. Let's find a safe exit.
And since people are asking about the field of view, yeah, the field of view for this game is not very amazing. It's at a solid 70.
Wait. We need to get through that door, but it's been damaged by an explosion.
Sabu, we have a donation.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so Hege Mege is donating $25.
It looks like
Saying
the Covenant
congrats on
are
you,
connection.
Jedi Academy PB, Sabu. The Finnish invasion never ends.
Thanks, Hege. It's very nice of you. So, we're coming up to the end of Pillar of Autumn, and then we'll actually have some more action. And this is also where we get introduced to grenades. So, they nicely give you like 8 of them here, which I can use to clear out these enemies.
Chief? Chief, can
And
you hear
we are
me?
off to the second level, which is
At
called Halo,
last. Are you
in the
alright?
game called
Can you
Halo.
move?
Not at all confusing,
Yes.
especially when there's a Halo 3 level called Halo as well. And here's going to be
I've
the
detected
first
multiple Covenant dropships on approach.
kind of trick in the game, I
recommend
guess,
moving into those hills.
which is
We're
a
lucky.
grenade jump.
The Covenant will believe that everyone aboard this lifeboat died in a crash.
Beautiful. So that just saves like 5 seconds of walking. You don't have to go over the bridge, and it skips some enemies up here, which is more important than legendary, but also quite convenient on easy. And one thing you might notice here is, if you look at my health, I only have 1 red health left, and that's due to some kind of weird damage balancing. So on easy difficulty your explosives deal a ton of damage, and it actually ends up being quite dangerous in a lot of places to go for grenade jumps, because right after the grenade blows up you're basically 1 shot away from death. Anything at all will kill you,
I'm reading a lifeboat beacon over the next hill.
but more on that later.
Check to see if there are any survivors.
Coming up here is a pretty complicated fight sequence. So there's going to be a bunch of waves of dropships coming down. And I can speed this up by a bunch. First by killing some marines here, which I swear I'm not just doing because I'm a bully. It's for the sake of speed. So killing the marines actually skips some voice lines which delay these ships from coming down, and also there is a skip in this area called the drop skip, which you might, from the name, assume that it skips a dropship. And what that skip entails is, I basically need to clear these ships instantly as they come down. There can be up to 2 enemies alive per ship and it will still work. Okay, good start. Gonna just grab that grenade there for safety. So grenade drops are random in this game, and grenade management and also health management are very important in this run. Okay, so normally there would be another dropship over here,
Recommend that we stay near the beacon
but
and wait for it to
because I
start.
cleared everything so fast, the dropship that was previously over there is the same one that should be there now, and it hasn't gone off the map yet when it's supposed to do the second drop. I'm pretty sure that's the reason, at least. So it just doesn't end up coming down again. And we're done with this area. So you might be wondering, if you know the flow of this level, why don't I just walk past this area, because you totally don't need to clear this area. You can just proceed with the level and like do a grenade jump to get past the gap coming up, but this level is so large
Look, more lifeboats.
that
They're coming
if
in
you
fast.
actually tried to do it on foot, it would
Those
take
lifeboats make it
ages,
down.
like
Some men are going to be right on top.
probably an extra 10 minutes or so. So instead we do this fight just to get this Warthog here.
Roger, Cortana. Okay, Charlie Team, Warthog deployed. Saddle up and give them hell.
Roger, Bowhammer. Stand by to evac survivors and transport them to safety.
That's affirmative. Echo 419 staying on station. Bowhammer out.
This cave is not a natural formation. Someone built it, so it must lead somewhere.
Guys, did you know this
I
cave is
hacked
not a
into the
natural
Covenant
formation?
battle network. They're actually broadcasting
I wouldn't have
tactical
known it,
data
but
on unencrypted
Cortana told
channels.
me.
We should show them who they're dealing with. Master Chief, I'm going to use your suit's transcom system to monitor their chatter.
I mean, it looks perfectly natural to me. Okay, so there's another trick coming up here, which is called a Warthog Fling. And so we can kind of abuse the physics of the Warthog to hopefully launch up like that. That was actually perfect. And here, again, sorry Marine, but it had to be done. And so this mission is actually all about saving the Marines. We're just saving them in a different way, I guess.
There's new traffic on the Covenant battle network. A lot more crew made it off the Autumn than I had predicted. The captain really gave them hell.
And so, since we're saving Marines, the ending of the level is actually quite interesting. It's a non-linear section where there's 3 different areas you need to clear, and then 3 groups of Marines that you need to save. But I'm not sure what the reason for this is, but you're allowed to actually fail the objective in this mission, and you can still finish the level. You just need to clear the enemies in the final area, and as long as you've been to every area and either successfully saved the Marines or failed the objective, then you can progress.
Lifeboat detected. No sign of survivors.
Dang, just missed the sniper there. Tried to do a sick sniper grab. There's another Warthog Fling coming up here.
Maybe they took cover in that structure. Let's check it out.
Just kinda carrying over the momentum. That wasn't super good,
We
but
should search the interior of those
still got us
structures
over,
before
so
we leave.
it's fine. So, here we're going to save the Marines. Hashtag saved. And now we're done with this area. Because you either have to complete the objective, which is killing all the enemies in this entire area, and then waiting for a Pelican to come pick the Marines up, or you can fail it by just accelerating the deaths of the Marines.
The interior of those structures before we leave.
And especially in this next upcoming area, the rock slide. If you actually did it the intended way, there's like 5 or 6 waves of enemies that come down, and it takes forever to do this area. So we're just gonna save them
Marines
instead.
are concealed in those rocks.
And I have to be very careful here not to leave any of them alive, because we're already kind of breaking the sequence of events here. But if we leave one of them alive and then go to the next area, then that area won't end properly, and then we have to come back, and it just becomes a mess really quickly if one of them is still alive. I'm gonna wait here for a bit for
What are you doing? We have to stay
just
with the
safety
Marines. We need to
reasons.
find the other 2 lifeboats.
There's some weird dialogue stuff going on in the background here, which affects the ending of the level.
I'll call in a dropship to pick them up.
So here we do actually need to clear the enemies.
I picked up reports that the Covenant has located and secured the Pillar of Autumn's crash site. The good news is the captain is still alive. The bad news is that the Covenant have captured the entire surviving command crew. Let's hurry and find the final lifeboat so we can link up with the rest of the survivors.
And that's the last of them. That is not the last of them. There's an enemy alive somewhere. Dang it.
That's the last of them.
This hacking guy.
Roger that. I'm on my way.
New traffic on the Covenant BattleNet. I found Captain Keyes.
So fun fact, if you're used to the multiplayer of this game,
The Truth and
you know
Reconciliation.
that the pistol is super accurate even at long range, but turns out in the campaign the pistol is actually very inaccurate, and you can see that none of the shots actually land where you're aiming, they all land around where you're aiming. It's really weird that the campaign pistol is different from the multiplayer one.
Let's get out of here.
Welcome aboard, man. The enemy has captured Captain Keyes and are holding him aboard one of their cruisers, the Truth and Reconciliation. The ship is currently holding position approximately 300 meters above the other end of this plateau.
So how do we get inside
So
the
this
ship?
is the Truth and Reconciliation,
The Corps issued me a right
arguably
to my
the hardest mission in the game.
Gravity lift that ferries troops and supplies between the ship and the surface. That's our
It's
ticket
basically
in.
the most combat
Once we
heavy
get inside
level,
the ship,
at least,
we should be able to lock on to the tracking signal from Captain Keyes' neural implants.
and this is a sniper level.
The Corps ain't paying us by the
If you
hour.
want to know,
Stick to the higher ground to the right.
or if you want confirmation or proof that this is indeed meant to be purely a sniper level, well, the normal maximum ammunition you can have in a sniper is 24 bullets, but at the start of this level they actually give you 64, which is like triple that. And there's like 5 or 6 different ammo caches in this level that all give you full sniper ammo again. So, if you're ever playing this game and struggling on Legendary or something,
Covenant forces detected
just
up ahead.
remember, never drop the sniper in this level.
Sneak up around.
Hacking rock jump, hardest trick in the
We're
game.
drawn into Fire Team Charlie. Move up
Not
on
really.
the left. You should be able to flank the
But actually coming up is a very, very difficult section, so kinda have to focus here. I'm going to again try to skip a dropship by killing certain enemies as soon as they appear, and it's really difficult to do here. That was actually perfect. Beautiful.
Alert! Covenant dropships are inbound.
So there's going to be a dropship dropping off some grunts, and normally you would have to kill them before the waves start coming down from the lift, but by manipulating this area a bit, you can actually make the gravity lift start spawning enemies soon,
Once
or
we're
sooner
inside the
rather.
ship, I can home in on the captain's command neural
And
controls.
yeah,
Probably
you save a bit of
in
time
or
and
near the ship's
it's
rig,
fast.
which should narrow our search.
We're directly under the ship now.
Again, saving the Marines to save some time.
To move troops and supplies between the ship and the surface.
This mission is also about saving Marines, by the way. Or this time we're technically rescuing Captain Keyes, but also his Marine buddies. And so, I said that this is a sniper level, but this is also the wave fight level of this game. So, we had the gravity waves earlier, and now we have the so-called belly fight, which is 6 waves of enemies from these doors. That wasn't too bad. And now we can proceed. And so, coming up next is, surprise surprise, another wave fight. Except this time we can actually skip the entire thing. So, in this game, the enemies have permission to open certain doors that you don't have permission to open. And I'm going to attempt to abuse that by enraging this elite here. And bringing him over here. And hey, he unlocks the door. And we can proceed. And next up is going to be the first kind of cool trick in this run. So, this is actually a very large skip. Not only does it skip this entire hangar area, which is another wave fight, but it also kind of messes with the ending of the level. And so, all you need to know for this trick is that there is this power-up on the ground called an overshield, and I am briefly invincible after picking it up.
Lock onto my signal and approach fast and low. There's a shuttle bay on the ship's starboard side. Roger, Cortana. Echo 419 on approach.
And boom, we're up here. Well, that grunt is a master. MLG Pro. Or maybe I'm just bad, I don't know which one it is. And so, I kinda have to clear these hallways, because we'll be coming back through here and there's going to be an escort mission. And so, kinda need to keep Captain Keyes safe by killing the enemies.
We should head back to the shuttle.
And here again, we're saving the Marines, so we're gonna shoot them a bit to save them better. And this time the purpose is actually, well, the first thing is that Captain Keyes will chase me faster if he is mad at me. And the second thing is that, as I said, the triple grenade jump we did, it kind of screwed up the ending of the mission, and Captain Keyes being mad at me also further screws up the end of the mission. And normally you're supposed to go all the way back to the hangar and there's like a lengthy discussion between Cortana and Captain Keyes, but instead the level just ends here.
The Covenant believe that what they call the Silent Cryptographer is somewhere under this island. The cartographer
So here
has a
is
map
the Silent
that will lead
Cryptographer,
us to
which
Halo's control center.
is probably one of the favorite
The island
missions
has
of
multiple structures
many
and
Halo players.
installations. One of them contains the macro.
This is a very famous map. And there's an epic fight right at the beginning, so of course we're just gonna walk away. Because this map is pretty open-ended. It's basically a circular island, and yeah, you can do that fight and you'll get a Warthog eventually, but it kinda takes a long time, so it's better to just walk here, and there's a Warthog flipped on the other side as well. And the way you're supposed to do this mission is so you'd have to find the Silent Cryptographer, and you're supposed to go there, and then the Covenant lock a door in front of you, and then you need to go to the security station on the other side of the island to unlock that door, then go back to the Cartographer, then descend all the way into the middle of the island, and then activate the Cartographer and go all the way up again to get out of the mission. But we're gonna skip a lot of that, so again, the Warthog fling thing that I explained earlier, it's really useful for getting through things before they close.
There, in the cliff wall.
And also there's going to be, on the way up, a pretty cool trick, which, if you liked the grenade stack in the previous level, you're gonna love what's coming up. Hopefully.
Covenant are putting up a real fight. The cartographer must be here. Don't let them lock the doors.
So we just skipped most of this level there. Do some nice fall damage cancelling here. And this is a trick that exists. Gonna get a checkpoint because it's quite hard. Dude, yes, first try. Nice. That is so difficult. You have no idea. So, there's another overshield there, which, as we saw earlier, makes you invincible for a moment, and that is 5 grenades on the ground, and then I actually stuck myself with a plasma grenade as well, so in the middle of flying up into the air from the original grenade blast, I get another blast from the plasma grenade exploding.
We can't proceed unless we can disable this installation's security system. Cortana to Echo
And yeah, that's Silent Cryptographer.
Requesting pickup.
Understood. We're still en route to the objective. I may be out of contact when we get there. Here are your orders. I want you to use any means necessary.
This run is actually going really well.
To the facility and
Dang.
find Halo's control center.
Oh yeah, another thing that I haven't even explained yet is something called backpack reloading. So if you tap reload twice and then switch weapons, the weapon will start or will keep reloading while you have your other weapon out. So that's a common glitch that a lot of Halo 1 players probably know about already, but it's incredibly useful for optimizing combat. So now for another very cool level. So this one is called Assault on the Control Room, and at least for me this was my favorite level playing the game casually back in the day, because there's so many vehicles and so much cool stuff you can do in this level. I really like the winter theme of this level as well. But we're not really gonna see all that much of this level because there is a huge skip coming up, which I think is kind of a famous skip for this game, known as the bridge fall.
Interesting. The weather patterns
So
here
we're just
seem
gonna jump
natural,
down
not
here.
artificial. I wonder if the ring's environment systems are malfunctioning.
And just jump down
or
here.
if the designers wanted the installation to have inclement weather.
And not slide off because we're good.
Requesting immediate assistance from any UNSC forces. Does anyone copy?
So, yeah.
I didn't think there were any
Jumping
human
down
forces
here
left on the
skips a
Cosgrove.
pretty lengthy indoor section,
Cortana to Fire Team 2.
and
I read
in
you.
addition,
Fire Team
the way
2,
the level
this
is laid
Cortana.
out,
Hold position. We're on our
it's
way.
like the enemies are all spawned by triggers which rely on each other to activate. So now that we skipped like probably a quarter of the level is extremely confused and it's still waiting for us to go inside there. So it's not gonna spawn any enemies here. And indeed, it's not gonna spawn any enemies for the rest of the level. But the vehicles are here, so we can just drive through with the Ghost. And now, this is actually something that's quite, I guess, a quite core component of this game, where the triggers all rely on each other, so you can do the same kind of thing on many other levels as well. But the problem is that you can't really finish levels if the triggers don't function. However, for this mission specifically, the ending of the level is actually just tied to you pressing a button, so if you press that button, regardless of anything else, the level ends. So we can just skip pretty much everything here. And even though this might just look like boring driving through an empty level, there's a surprising amount of driving optimization you can do. Like, even though this game doesn't have sick movement tech like Quake games or something, there's still a lot of optimization to do. Like taking corners well and maintaining momentum properly. So, now that there's no enemies, there's also this Banshee here that we can just grab. This is actually maybe why a lot of people, even if they're not speedrunners, they know about the bridgefall trick because it's the easiest and the like most well-known method for getting a Banshee early in this mission. If you do the bridgefall and then just go there, you can get the Banshee and then you can go back and play the level with the Banshee. And that grenade jump there just saves a few seconds of walking. Oh yeah, another thing with this level, because the triggers don't really work anymore, there's also no checkpoints. Well, there's one in the tunnels back there, but if I somehow manage to die now, it's going to be like 3 or 4 minutes lost, so hope I don't die. Oh yeah, you guys want to see a magic trick? Boom. The grenade disappears! And this Banshee you're actually kind of supposed to get. It's the kind of thing that you can pilot this Banshee in casual play as well. That's why there's a tutorial message when you enter it, but you're also kind of not supposed to because it skips some enemies if you do. And so, yeah, now we just need to finish the level here.
We have a $20 donation from Solid Spider Snake without a message. So
Oh,
thank
great.
you very much for $20.
Thank you.
It's 1383. I want to remind we have We've met all the goals, but we have one final bid war during Prey 2017. That's coming up later after the next run. So that's the male versus female character bid war. So you can donate.
Yeah, and all of the money from now on, since we met our original goal, the rest of the money will be donated to the ESA charity, which is Save the Children, I believe.
Yep.
When you locate Captain Keys, radio in, and I'll come pick you up.
So this level is 343 Guilty Spark, and there's actually a somewhat new, well, it's not really new anymore, but in Halo terms it's new. There's a fairly new, pretty major skip coming up, which is really difficult. There's a fairly precise setup for it, and it's basically frame perfect. Even though technically not, but basically frame perfect, so hopefully I don't have too much trouble with it. It's called the Reveal Skip. So I'm gonna delay a checkpoint. Oh, or never mind. Wait. I'm not sure if that's the checkpoint I'm supposed to be delaying or not. Oh well, we'll see. Oh, that's kinda bad. There's a backup checkpoint here though, so let's see. So I need to land out of bounds by going through here and boosting myself with a grenade, and it's actually really fast, so as long as I get this jump, we're through. That was really good actually. That skip is very difficult. So that's actually a skip that has a lot of history behind it. Like, it has been known for years and years that you could skip this area if you could just get through that one door. And we even knew that you could get out of bounds through there, but actually landing out of bounds by using a grenade was really difficult to discover. Also, now there's these zombie guys everywhere. I don't know where they came from. There was like no foreshadowing at all. Like, they didn't even have an introduction for these guys. They just appeared out of nowhere. Like, they should have really had maybe a room with a bunch of the flood spores coming out and a nice cutscene. But nah. Actually, so I was gonna do a grenade jump there, but I decided to abandon it since I didn't have health. Yeah, so I guess all jokes aside, the major plot twist of this game is skipped nowadays with the reveal skip, so this game basically has no plot twist anymore, in the speedrun at least. Here I'm actually going to blast myself with a grenade for kind of a weird reason. I would have liked to do that previous grenade jump if I had more shields, but since I couldn't, I have to just nade myself here. And the reason is that the ending of this level is really odd. Like, there are a few different things that can end the level early, but if none of those conditions is met, then it just like takes a long time. And so one of the conditions for easy difficulty is to be on low health. I guess the intention is that 343 Guilty Spark and his sentinels come and save you from dying. There he is. Hi 343. So now it's time for arguably the best level in the game, but then again, you can argue that anything is good. I wouldn't take those arguments very seriously for this level being good. So this is the library. Many people might have fond memories of the endless brown hallways that look exactly identical, and the hundreds upon hundreds of flood that come out of every corner. But that's not the only reason why this level is kind of awful for speedrunning. So there's this trick called flood bumping that I'm going to attempt coming up here. And it's completely random whether it works or not, because it requires a reviving flood, which this guy, I'm not sure if he is. He is. It's actually nice. So yeah, that's a flood bump. And so the way this level is laid out, there are a lot of these doors that you have to wait a long time for them to open. And usually there's like a big fight going on and you have to bunker down and defend. But as you could see there, we can use the flood bump glitch to completely script through the doors. And the way it works is about, I think it's 40% of the flood. I'm not sure about the number, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 40%. They are what we call revivers, which means they go down when you shoot them once with the pistol, and then after a while they come back up and start fighting again. And so what you can do is stand on top of a flood when they revive, and if you're like squeezed really tightly between the reviving flood and a wall, then the game will just violently push you into the wall and you'll just go through. And here coming up is the second attempt at a flood bump. That grenade jump there looks pointless, but it actually skips some allied sentinels from spawning, which, I mean, it sounds kind of weird that we're skipping allies spawning, but it just makes this next fight a bit more manageable. This guy. Please be a reviver. Nope. So, if they take 2 pistol shots, then they are a normal flood. If they take 1, then they will revive. Oh, this guy's a reviver. I'm also gonna do something fancy here. Boop. That just teleports me forward a bit. Because of some, like, I don't even know why, some wonky out of bounds geometry. Like, if you're familiar with the physics of other games, you might know things like pressure launches, where if you're like squeezed between several things, then the game will just launch you out of there at a high velocity. This game doesn't really do that, it just teleports you away. Anyways, this library is pretty good so far. Hopefully the rest of the lottery goes well. Oops, did I say lottery? I meant library. In this game, the revivers are just random. In the later Halo games, the flood spores do the reviving, but in Halo 1, that is not the case. So now that we're past the spooky scary second floor of the library, it is time for a dramatic change in the scenery. By which I mean it is the third floor, which is exactly identical to the previous floors. I mean, this game is really great in many ways, but some of the level design is kind of questionable. So, this next hallway is actually kind of dangerous because of something that I don't think I've mentioned yet, called chain reactions. So, the explosive in this game, if there are grenades on the ground and an explosion goes off near those grenades, then those grenades will detonate for full damage and they will further detonate grenades near them. So, for example, these carriers exploding can cause a chain reaction if there are grenades on the floor, so you have to be pretty careful to not just outright die to bad RNG. Gonna do a small checkpoint delay here and another flood bump. And this time, because I got the checkpoint so close to this door, I can actually revert to checkpoint and kind of force a reviver by attempting it over and over. And trying it this many times. If I don't get it this time, then I will be losing time compared to just waiting, I think. Okay, there we go. So, even though I did get the flood bump, it took quite a lot of attempts, so kind of questionable whether it saved time or not. But trust me, the math works out. If you revert there, then on average you will save time. Just leaving some nice little plasma grenades as presents for the flood chasing me. And here, I want to have as many human flood following me as possible. So, you might have noticed that I'm only attempting flood bumps with the human flood. And it's mostly because the elite flood are very erratic and hard to manipulate. But here I'm going to get another checkpoint, hopefully. And I'm actually going to go back here and see if I have any revivers. I do not have any revivers, so that's a shame. If I did, then I could just lure them here and use them for the flood bump, but oh well, we'll just have to try and get lucky. This door is one of the toughest to do if you don't have a reviver following you. If this works, I'm going to be incredibly happy. It didn't, okay. We'll just take this no bump. Maybe try this one guy. Oh, is he gonna revive? I doubt it. Yeah, no. So, we did get one reviver, but he was really annoying and moved really badly and couldn't really position him properly. It's fine though. Although that is the longest door in the level, if I get the other ones then it's still gonna be a pretty decent library. Okay, so after 3 floors of brown hallways, we are finally to the last floor of brown hallways. And guess what we're gonna do on this floor? If you guessed flood bump, then congratulations, you guessed right. Any human blood, please? Yeah, shotgun guy. Be a reviver, please. Hey, I'm not sure if this positioning is correct. Okay. Was good enough. While the flood bumps are not super precise, the AI is random and unpredictable enough that sometimes, even if you do your lineup pretty well, it can still be kind of misaligned. And now, at the final door here, we're just going to do a grenade jump through it because it opens like halfway and then stalls for a while. It's actually really important that I do this grenade jump immediately, as soon as I can. Because if I wait even a moment, then these guys are gonna kinda troll me. Like, yeah. There's a few flood there, just a few.
The energy barrier surrounding the index will deactivate when we reach the ground floor.
And even though this is on easy, that many enemies will just straight up kill you if you're not careful.
You may now retrieve the index.
Oh yeah, and for some reason this is the most important cutscene in the game, because it is the only one that you can't actually skip, outside of the, like, level introductions on some levels.
Protocol requires that I take possession of the index for transport. Your organic form renders you vulnerable to infection. The index must not fall into the hands of the flood before we reach the control room and activate the installation. The flood is spreading. We must hurry.
We must hurry.
Look out!
Okay, so this is 2 Betrayals, and if there's going to be any marathon luck, then this is going to be the place for it. So, 2 Betrayals is... it's a nice level, it's a pretty long level, but it is by far the most lethal level in this game, on every difficulty. So, I would not be surprised if I died here at some point. And if you remember Assault on the Control Room, which, funnily enough, is this exact level, but backwards, then you might remember the thing about the triggers. Like, if you skip a trigger, then the rest of the level won't function properly. And it works the same way in this level, except you can't actually finish it. So sometimes I have to intentionally slow down to make sure that I progress the level properly. And here I took a slightly slow route there for the sake of the marathon, because there's a faster slide you can do there. Saves a few seconds, but it causes something that we call, lovingly, checkpoint glitch. And I mean, you can probably interpret that as what it is. It basically means that you stop getting checkpoints, and I mean, if you're going for a world record or something, then you probably want to take the couple seconds time save, because if you die then you're losing a ton of time anyway, but for a marathon losing like 4 minutes if I die is not very acceptable.
Move out and I'll mark the target with a nav point when we get closer. I'm marking the location through that door's pulse. That's the way to the nav canyon. We need to move in and neutralize the device.
If I get a checkpoint here,
We should
nice.
commandeer one of
I'll
those
do a
branches.
grenade jump
We'll
here,
need it to
which
reach the pulse generator in
is
time.
pretty risky. That's actually perfect. That's not even risky at all, if I get it like that. So, as we said earlier, grenade jumps do a lot of damage, but if you can get a grenade jump that just barely hits you on the edge, then you might take less damage, and now I'm fairly safe. So this is the first bridge where if I took too much damage on that grenade jump, then this would be the first dangerous part of the level. Or I guess there have been dangerous parts before as well, but this would be a very dangerous part. Because all of those jackals can overcharge you and just instantly drain away all of your shields and murder you. And coming up here is going to be a flood with a rocket launcher who just comes around a corner, and sometimes he just instantly snipes you and you die, and it's horrible. But I hope it's not going to happen this time. Got him with the pre-fire. The good thing is that we get his rocket launcher. And yeah, so that was one rocket flood, which is scary enough on its own. But coming up is the second bridge, which is by far the most lethal area in this entire video game on any difficulty. So there's going to be 3 rocket flood who can all just brutally murder you if they want. And oh, I got really lucky that that guy didn't shoot at me. And then there is a Banshee flying in the sky who, this time he was very nice and didn't even approach me. So that was actually a very lucky bridge. But the Banshees in this game, they're not really too dangerous when they just fire at you, but they have a bad habit of just ramming into you and splattering you. And it's really annoying when it happens because it's just instant death and there's nothing you can really do. Unless you go really slow. Anyways, that's the first half of 2 Betrayals done. I didn't die, so that's fun. Do a neat little grenade jump here as well. Just skips this room.
Okay, let's take care of the next pulse generator.
Oh. That is disgusting, is what that is.
Okay, let's take care of the next pulse generator.
Okay, so you saw nothing. Let's continue. So now in the second part of 2 Betrayals we're going to be mostly just driving through here. And we're coming up to the second pulse generator, so the objective of this mission is to destroy 3 pulse generators, which Cortana said at the beginning of the mission what they do, but can't remember right now. They're like trying to activate Halo or something. And we did the first pulse generator at the beginning of the mission, and it was mostly just showing that when you destroy one of them, then it takes away your shields for a bit and there's enemies nearby. But this time it's going to be actually very dangerous, so there is a ton of flood packed into this room coming up. And then when you destroy the pulse generator, there's going to be a ton of flood spawned in the exit hallway. So, yeah, a bunch of them also have rocket launchers. So, I'm just gonna hope I don't die.
Generator overloaded. One more to go.
That was a pretty solid clear, actually.
I've located the Pillar of Autumn. She put down 1,200 kilometers upspin. Energy readings show her fusion reactors are still powered up. That tunnel leads to the next section of canyon. The final pulse generator we need to destroy is through there.
Okay, one more major trick in this level. This is actually something that also was known for a long time, that you could do it, but it was just way too slow. But like a year ago or so, a really nice setup was found for this. And this trick actually saves a surprising amount of time, because you're supposed to continue on foot here. But instead you can just kinda do this series of moves here and wiggle the Banshee through. Just like so. And here's one spot where I need to intentionally slow down in order to make the level progress. And I do need to make sure that I hit all the required triggers for the level to progress before I finish before I go to the ending. So I need to kill some flood here. They need to fly in a certain path here, but other than that it's basically just flying to the end of the level. And it gives me some nice time to talk about the next mission, which is called Keys. And Keys has the biggest skip in the game, and also the best discovery in the history of this video game. Because on Keys there is a flood bump that skips like 3 or 4 minutes or so of content. And flood bumps, as we know, are totally random. But if you can believe it, we actually found an actual RNG manipulation strat for this game, which is insane.
Let's get out of here.
So, if I did that correctly, then
Captain?
this flood here
I've lost him.
is always a reviver. So, this flood bump setup is kind of weird. Hopefully I don't fail it. Would be really embarrassing. Nice. So, yeah. It just kind of amazes me that a game as modern as Halo has actual RNG manipulation. Because, like, traditionally, it's reserved for, like, really old games with, like, very predictable moves. Like RPGs, Pokemon and such. But a 3D game, a shooter game, having RNG manipulation is incredibly rare.
No human life signs
And
detected.
I have to say, shoutouts to Svo for figuring that out.
We can't let the flood get off this ring. You know what he'd expect. What he'd want us to do.
And the the reason that it works is the RNG seed for the level gets kind of reset or determined by which frame you skip the initial cutscene on.
Let's go back to the shuttle bay and find a ride.
And then you can... oh, that explosive is dangerous. Just gonna wait there and watch the explosions go off, no big deal. But yeah, you like skip the cutscene on the first possible frame by doing a nice setup that we found, and then you do the exact same motions every single time after that, and the RNG will be consistent. And yeah. And it's not really useful anywhere else because
Perfect. Grab one of the
like
escort bags
as soon as you do
and return to the
anything
Pillar of Autumn.
that is not exactly what you're supposed to do, then the RNG gets all out of whack. And on that level it just happens to be that the flat bump is right at the beginning.
We need to
Okay,
get to the
so
bridge. From
here's the
there,
final level
we
of the
need
game.
captain's neural
the maw.
implants to initiate an overload of the
This
ship's
is
fusion engines.
a really cool
Explosions
level in my
damage enough
opinion.
systems below it to
Pretty much
destroy
my
the
favorite
bridge.
level. Some people like this level, some people really hate this level. It's got some cool tricks. It's got the epic Warthog run in the end. And coming up is going to be a pretty nice out-of-bounds skip actually, known as Maw Bump. So I'm just going to kill all the enemies here to get a checkpoint because marathon. And what I need to do here is get out of bounds, and then while you're out of bounds in this game... Oh, this is a bad position. While you're out of bounds in this game, you actually can't see anywhere other than the room that you went out of bounds from. And so I have to do very specific motions here in order to get my camera into the next room, and then I can see where I'm going. Also, this platforming is way harder than it looks. But I nailed it, so it's fine. There's like very thin light fixtures and such on the ceiling that you can platform on. Also, shoutouts to the only place in the game where we used the plasma rifle. Here I'm just gonna grab some explosives, and there's an overshield here. And so I'm grabbing it both for safety, in case something catastrophic happens and I take a lot of damage, and also if I don't take too much damage, then I can do a sick trick with the extra shield. So coming up is the reactor room of the Maw, or of the Pillar of Autumn rather. And we need to destroy 4 of these reactors, and they're on like... they're kind of on cycles, and you can skip some of those cycles by doing a grenade jump up here and then trying to do a rocket jump up here, but if you remember from near the start of the run when I explained like the weird damage adjustments, rockets deal extreme damage to you. So this might take a couple tries.
Engine room located. We're here.
There we go.
Alert! The monitor has disabled all command access. We can't restart the countdown. The only remaining option is to detonate the ship's fusion reactors. That should do enough damage to destroy Halo. Don't worry, I have access to all of the reactor schematics and procedures. I'll walk you through it. First, we need to pull back the exhaust couplings. That will expose a shaft that leads to the primary fusion drive core. Good! Step 1 complete. We have a straight shot into the fusion reactor.
That's pretty good, even though I died a couple times on the rocket jump. That's fine, it's kind of a difficult timing. And at least I didn't fall down. Like, it's really easy to just fall down in the reactor room. And it feels really bad when it happens.
Reactor number 1 destabilizing. Use explosives on the other 3 reactors. That should be enough to trigger a wildcat explosion of the engines.
And we're up. So, now there's just the epic Warthog run left, so about like 4 more minutes of gameplay.
The Pillar of Autumn's engines are going critical, Fohammer. Request
Just chill,
extraction.
driving,
Approach the
optimizing
crash site and be ready to
all
pick
the
us up
paths
at
and
external access junction
It's kind of like a time trial, like when people started running this game, back in like the early 2000s, the War Dog run was one of the parts that people really enjoyed playing, I think. Just seeing who could get the best time for this.
Analyzing. We have 6 minutes before the fusion drives detonate. We need to evac now. Activating final countdown timer.
That's fun.
We can't make it on foot. We need a vehicle.
We can't make it on foot, you don't say.
Of almost 100 million degrees.
Did I drop my shotgun? I actually want that for a weird reason. I mean, I'm not going to use a gun for the rest of the mission, but I still want it for something coming up. So, at this point I should probably do some shoutouts. So, first off, if you haven't heard of HaloRuns.com, well, now you have. So, for all of your Halo running needs, there is a website that exists and is good, and it's called HaloRuns.com. And if you're at all...
Did somebody say HaloRuns.com?
Oh, did somebody say HaloRuns.com? I'm not sure. I didn't hear it. But I guess someone did. And yeah, there's some good resources there. There's our leaderboards and everything. If you're at all interested in learning any of the Halo games, then that would be the place to go. And people in the Halo community are pretty helpful towards beginners. If you have any questions regarding the runs, then just contact some of the runners and they will surely help. And in addition to HaloRuns.com, I also want to give a shout out to all the organizers of Hackathon. I've had a blast this weekend, just watching runs, doing runs. It's just been amazing. And especially the restreamers have been doing an awesome job keeping everything rolling. So, thanks for that. And yeah, so coming up here, I'm going to try something. I think in every hackathon that I've been in, I've tried this trick and I failed it, but this time, Hackathon 18.
Wait, stop.
Hackathon 18 will be the time that I actually get this.
Hold position here.
Cortana to Echo 419. 2 Covenant Banshees are approaching on your 6. Evade. Say again, evade. I'm hit. Mayday. Mayday. Airport buses are shot to hell. I can't hold her. I can't hold on.
Echo 419.
Dang.
She's gone.
Oh heck.
Calculating alternate escape route.
I even practiced that so much before this run, but no, never. I guess it's just hackathon tradition that I always fail that trick. Oh well. 18 hackathons down. Maybe hackathon 19 will be the one where I finally hit that trick. So it's possible to grab the Banshee there by like throwing a plasma grenade and clipping it through the front of the Banshee. And it's like, it's one of those tricks where you just do it for the swag. It doesn't save time, it just loses time, and it's super precise, but when it works, it's totally worth it.
Up ahead, there's a gap in the trench. At top speed.
Also, some people in chat might know what's coming up, so yay! Best trick in the run. And time is coming up fairly soon, by the way, so get ready on that. Assuming I don't die here or something. That has certainly never happened to me.
That's the ship. Move! We need to get aboard now.
Oh, dang. Need to do the walk of shame as well. The ending of this level was pretty shameful, but oh well, we got there. Nicely underestimate. And time.
Nice. 1:14:17.
Nice, that's actually a really good time. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and enjoy the rest of the marathon. See you.